discussions appear very detached from the common mwananchi. Vision 2030 is a phrase that for the last almost 30 years, we've had it all over, just as a talking point. Everyone making a speech has to mention Vision 2030, but to many Kenyans never really understood what exactly it was about. Now we are talking about reviewing the success rate of the same 4 years to the end of it. But if I may start with you, Hesbon, do Kenyans really understand this level of discussions?
I think majority of Kenyans don't understand, and for justifiable or understandable reasons. First is that if you look at the median age of the Kenyan population today is about 19. Now if you had to look at the age of Vision 2030, since it was promulgated in 2008, it's almost the same age. So many people were very young when Vision 2030 was formulated, and now they're coming of age. Probably it's going to be the first time a good number of them will be voters. Mm-hmm. So that gives a background to maybe many people don't understand about it. But it's also important to note that part of the reason why the journey of Vision 2030 is a bit obscure to the general public is that other than the first regime of President Kibaki that brought it to life, the subsequent governments have not given it, let me not say enough attention, but have not supported the Vision 2030 Secretariat to an extent that their visibility is seen by the Kenyan people. For example, we are just learning at this point that 66.1% of the target of Vision 2030 pillars have been achieved, with the political pillar achieving the highest rating, which was largely due to the promulgation of the new constitution. The economic pillar seems to be the one lagging behind. And it's all down to certain structures that underpinned how Vision 2030 was driven. There was National Social Council that was, Economic Council that was driving the team. And I think after 2013 elections, the team more or less became moribund. And the face of Vision 2030 from the Secretariat point of view was Mugo Kibati.
Yes.
He had to resign and go for private sector jobs. And I've always opined that there is no higher calling than driving the vision of a nation. So if it can get to a point where people find other private sector opportunities more lucrative than driving the hopes and aspirations of a nation, then it means that certain support structures may not have been provided. Okay. But suffice it to say, Vision 2030 was then broken into 5 different chunks, which were the MTPs. So to what extent have these MTPs been supported? Of course, every successive government then has tried to pick what may have been its priority out of the 4 pillars, and that's where you end up with probably a disjointed scorecard of where we are, just 4 years to the end of the Vision 2030.
Yes, and you talk about success rate, especially on the political pillar, but probably I welcome Neema to this conversation from that